use the limited community development block grant funds to be able to put it out to corporations and foundations that we're willing to invest in a scholarship program. Right now it's only available to people with triple poverty. Take it down to double poverty or single poverty if they'll match it. And it will be basically like a baby promise. So that kids that are under the age of 5 have an opportunity for early childhood that may not right now. We know that there are 10,000 kids between 1 day and 5 years old in the city of Pittsburgh, and a little bit over half of them have some level of early childhood. That means I have 5,000. That's a manageable number to be able to try and help. If I can help 5,000 kids, if I can even help 2,500, that's going to be 2,500 kids that are going to be less likely to get in trouble later in life. They're going to cost a heck of a lot more than those little dollars that I'm going to put out now. So it really is enabling and empowering those organizations that have been fighting at the front line. The re-election, you know,
Not elected yet, I know. But.
Yeah, but it's far away. But it's what I tried to do is be positive. But the city government's a mess. It's corrupt right now in every department. You know what's happening with this Fed's very real. But it's after this stuff is being investigated, they're not going. They know how bad it is here. I have to clean up city government. I think that people want me to clean up city government. I think that if I can do it in a way that show people that they've had their voice heard in the process, that if I can make services more transparent and make community visions adhered to, even if it's just putting a stop sign on a street that people have been asking for 30 years, then that level of involvement has been missing for so long in the city that will help to get me reelected. The big stuff, you're right. It's the combined sewer overflow. It's going to be completed 2026. People won't really see, you know, any of that. They'll see jobs and stuff, but they won't see the final product. Pushing for a sustainable source of revenue to build out a transit system needs to happen in the next 5 years. We have to be able to get together and put it up on a referendum, show people what it would look like. Here's a system that would go north along the HOV lane all the way up to Cranberry, south all the way to the village. That's already done. Use the MLK busway all the way to Monroeville and along the river to the airport west, and then the buses take you and you get on the train in the morning. And this is how much it's going to cost. And to get that, we're going to, you know, increase this tax, cigarette tax, or whatever the taxes are, your property, and then vote yes or no. But if we sell it the right way, I think that it could also follow the way we did with the libraries, and people's civic pride will take over and it could pass. But it's a risk Lawrence took when he said no more coal-burning fireplaces, but it's a risk that has to happen.
Let's have a last question. The last question. And right, yeah, yeah.
This is to follow up on what you were talking about, redevelopment and allowing people to stay in their neighborhoods. There's going to be a segment of people who, well, first of all, don't want to become homeowners, but who want to stay there. Their social networks are there. And also, there's going to be a lag between when property values rise and people's incomes rise in order to be able to buy houses. Are you looking at things like anti-speculation or?
We actually have it on the books already, so that if an area increases in value quickly, there is on property taxes an exemption for the increase on adjacent property owners or people that have been there for a while. Really haven't had any areas that we've had to utilize it, I don't believe. There might have been something around Southside Works with some folks down there, but that's about it that I think at this point. But we're going to see change. I mean, the goal is to create 20,000 new residents in 10 years. And for somebody that's lived their entire life watching just population leave the city, you know, it sounds impossible. How the heck do you bring 20,000 new people? But right now, I met with the largest apartment developer in all the Midwest. And he did research on Pittsburgh, and he said right now in the city, not the county, but in the city, there's a demand for 5,000 high-end apartments. The idea is how do we have a backlog in housing authority requests for people to have housing that we just shut it down because we have so many needs and not enough housing. We can, and then you have downtown on its own. I mean, you have the opportunity to create 5,000 new low-income housing, 5,000 new high, and that's just on the apartment end. We have all these areas that 10 years ago we tore down all this housing development that was subsidized. And they were all built on hilltops because back in the day, in the 50s, the pollution was still so bad, they put the public housing on hilltops. Now that the pollution isn't there, you have views of downtown that are amazing. We can redevelop these big old empty fields into middle-income housing. I mean, there's all options that are available. Hazelwood, down on the river with the El Mono site, creating housing. There's tons of opportunity without having to force anybody out. What I want to see, though, is a opportunity to combine housing with workforce training in the you know, the trades, where people from neighborhoods are being employed into it, into neighborhood revitalization, and starting to see neighborhoods that have this incredible housing stock, because the homes in Homewood were built at the same time as the homes in Point Breeze. And if you took one of those homes in Homewood and had a big helicopter, one of those ones with the two of those, and you plopped it down in Squirrel Hill, they'd be selling for $300,000 for something that's going to only be there for 30 years. Let's restore those. They have 8-foot wide foundations. Let's restore them and rebuild the neighborhood around it. Eventually, property values will go up. We just have to have a way that component of making sure people aren't forced out is a part of the economic development plan. That's the difference between David Lawrence's economic development program and what we have to create.
And hopefully, after they get training, that they get into the unions. And get,
Already starting the conversations on how we can create the union hall in the neighborhood, because one of the things that union halls have that most folks in the neighborhood don't is a need for a car. It's kind of hard to get out to Carpenter's out by the airport if you don't have a car. In fact, you're required if you want to become a journeyman to be able to have a car. So, yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, thank you very much,
Thanks, Jim.
Councilman Peduto,
Thank you.
for being here this evening.